Just out of curiosity, because we're about to go that way now. Dorothy mentioned that you ultimately, once you got your rights reverted, self-published at least one book, and I know obviously that's an option. We just chatted with Hugh Howey, and I never get tired of telling people about it. I think it'll be 3 episodes behind this one, esteemed audience. If you missed it, go back, listen to it. It's amazing. Obviously, I self-publish. I'm a big believer in self-publishing. So when we're talking, I think you said 40%, or was it 35%, and then 40% once you get the loyalty bonus with the ebooks versus the full 70%. What are you gaining for that 30% that you're giving up? And I'll open that up. Dorothy, we'll start with you, and then Sara, I will give you a chance to chime in as well. Go ahead.
There are a lot of things I don't have to think about because Sara thinks about them, right? She hires someone to make the cover, and she edits, so I don't have to hire a separate editor. She does, the marketing, and she tells me, helps to guide me as to what I should be doing too. So it's having a support team, I guess, for me is how I feel. Particularly since my technical skills are pretty limited. I do my best when I'm learning new stuff all the time, but I'm not good at. I didn't even know what SEO was, right? So, the thing I do enjoy with my self-published book though is being able to fool around with it on Amazon. That is, they're the bad name. On Amazon, I can run a sale. A 99-cent sale and see what happens. If that didn't work, I could try something else. And it's just kind of fun for me. Since I'm not trying to live off of what I make from my books, thank God. I enjoy kind of playing around with it, that aspect of it.
And that's going to be kind of the theme of as our conversation progresses and we talk about how you collaborate on the book. We're going to learn well about what you're getting for that 30% that you're giving up. But Sara, I want you speak to that as well before we move to that part of it.
Yeah, and that's something else. As a small publisher, we've got to earn our salt. So I do get some very dirty looks from other people in the industry when I say quite loudly and clearly that I think self-publishing is fantastic. And I've been saying that for a decade, when Kindles were just kind of starting to be a big thing. I was all for self-publishing. But as Dorothy said, I think something that all publishers, not obviously just small publishers, but all publishers need to do is, for whatever percentage we take, it's making sure that it's not just about the cover design and the editorial and things like that. It's about development of skills as well. So I'm huge on skills development. So I did a full online course for the Inspired Quill authors, which is actually available to the public as well. Although the public has to pay for it and the Inspired Quill authors get it for free.
Where can the public go to pay for that eagerly? Where would they find that? Just at inspired-quill.com is where
it's not actually. It's I never really shout about it, which is ridiculous because it's a good course, if I may say so myself. But it's sjslack.teachable.com. I'll probably put it on the Inspired Quill website at some point as well, but I've not really got round to that yet.
I'll put it in the show notes as well, esteemed audience, so check there.
So yeah, it's a case of doing all the stuff that big publishers do as well, because I've always wanted to make sure that Inspired Quill has the quality of a big publisher, and it's really gratifying, for example, when we go to events and people ask if we're an imprint of XYZ big publisher. And people are like, oh, these books look really good and the quality of them's really great, and your website's good, and that's really important to me to really focus on the detail as well as the big picture.
All right, well, let's pick the story back up. We've had our first Skype chat, You sat on the contract for a week. Everything looked good. You talked with your writer friends. You're on board. So you come back. You've agreed on terms. What happened? What's the next step for the book then, Dorothy?
There was a date by which the full manuscript had to be submitted. I mean, Sarah had already read it, but presumably I might want to do something. I might have thought of something else, other revision to make in the meantime, because until it's out of my hands, that's always a danger. So, so I sent her the full manuscript by the date, probably ahead of time because I'm fanatically early. And there was a publication date that was pretty, far in the future. You have to get used to waiting around if you go with a publisher of any size. And then at some point, and it wasn't right away, it was probably several months because, there are things in their publication pipeline that she's working on first. Eventually, she sent me edits. And, and I'm talking about developmental edits now. And that is story quality edits. And there weren't very many. It was a very light hand on that, very light hand. I thought, well, that's just Sara. But since then, I've heard another Inspired Quill author say, yeah, I had to add 10 scenes. And I'm thinking, whoa. Okay. No, it was a very light hand. And so I did that, whatever it was. And I mean, as I say, I like revising. I'm happy. And so I sent it back, and then comes back a round of copy edits. And at some point also, we were talking about the cover. They asked me for what I might want what ideas I might have for what could go on the cover. And this is not something I'm very research-based on some of this stuff, and I didn't know anything about it. I mean, a book cover is supposed to be like a little billboard that advertises the book and tells what kind of book it is. So I went to my local Barnes & Noble at that point and asked, which is where I used to go to write. So they all knew me. And I asked the person, one of the managers, whether the YA books had people or objects on the cover, most. And she said it was about half and half, so that told me it didn't seem to matter. But I went and looked at some of those covers, and then I wrote back to Sarah and said, how about this, how about that? And she found, so I think there was and so there was some negotiation over the cover, because she found an artist, sent me, do you like this, do you like that, and what changes do you want? What else is in there? I don't know, all that didn't take terribly long, maybe a year from the time I signed the contract to the time the book came out. Maybe.
And you're just kind of going back and forth. You said there was the developmental edits and then around the copy edits.
Right.
And then are you chatting on a regular basis about making a plan for launch from there, or?
I don't think so. I don't remember. Frankly, for this book, The Wysman, it seems to me we're doing a lot more for launch than we did for The Wind Reader. And I don't know what the difference is there, but there's a lot more going on this time. So we're chatting about it a lot. I'm back and forth with someone from Inspired Quill all the time. They find things, I find things, and my policy on anything they suggest is to say yes. Will you do this? Sure. Will you do that? Sure. Can you do this? Well, why not? So, and then I figure it out later.
You can hear you, right? So you're not going to get really far.
So I have to figure, and then I go and I figure out how to do that thing I just agreed to do. So, we're going back and forth a lot right now. The launch is the 27th, June 27th. So, we're going right now. We're back and forth. Sarah has not said this, but she's in Madrid, and I'm in Chicago. So what happens is they've been working in what is day for them, and I get up in the morning. It's like 6 a.m. and I'm looking at my email, and there's emails there for things they suggest I might want to do. So that's what I get up to, if I'm lucky. Actually, I'm always grateful when those things turn up, but that's when they're there for me. That's when they slide into my mailbox. I don't know. We're going back and forth a lot for this one.
That's got to be both frustrating and a blessing, because you get that email like, oh, I can't respond. They won't see it for 24 hours. But you're forced to take a breath, whatever it is, and okay, let me make sure I send a calm, rational. I had all day to think of this response.
Have my coffee first, before I do anything, right?